My name is Jin. I'm from Aiea, Hawaii. I moved to New York City about maybe 8 years ago, and 6 years ago I started becoming a sex worker. Unintentionally, it just kind of happened. I became a professional dominatrix when I first started because I kind of already had like a look, an alternative look. So I started to dress more feminine, and I started to style my hair in a way that was very like hyper feminine. So I had straight across bangs, long black hair. I wanted to look like Betty Page. I just assumed that she was like the pinnacle of femininity, and the more feminine I looked, I thought I would make lots and lots of money. I worked for a commercial dungeon in New York City, and once I left the dungeon and I started doing freelance work, or I took breaks from being a sex worker, I kind of started choosing my own hairstyle, and I started doing some freelance like commercial modeling, and I dyed my hair blonde. Also at the time, Instagram was showing a lot of like non-binary models. I started coming out as non-binary. I was reading more about being gender fluid and non-binary, using they, them pronouns, like what that means. And I definitely identified with a lot of it, and I didn't realize there was so much language around this type of identity. And it was resonating with me for a while, but all the people that were like attributed to this identity were like thin, white, skinny, tall models, and I thought the only type of like identifiable factor in that was that like, oh, they have tattoos, and that's interesting, but and some of them had like pastel hair and like blue lipstick, and I was like, this is adorable, but I don't, other than the tattoos and like alternative hair expressions, I didn't really look like any of them. I started to dye my hair blue. I thought that would be more an obvious marker of like, I'm non-binary too. That didn't really do anything. At this time, I was also going to clinics to go on consultations about going on hormones, on testosterone. And some clinicians were telling me different things, like I would have to like lose some weight before going on testosterone because of the weight distribution. I would gain more weight. Some of them suggested that I maybe just work out more to have more of a masculine presentation rather than just going straight to hormones. I was getting a lot of different mixed signals from a lot of different clinicians, and realized that maybe it just like made me feel like I wasn't completely, maybe testosterone wasn't the complete answer. I'm not necessarily a person that wants to fully transition to be a man. I'm comfortable being the way I am. I just wanted to feel a little bit different and feel like less dysphoric about my transness as a non-binary person. In that time, I started getting my hair cut. I had long, gross, like stringy blonde hair, and it was like ready to just be cut off. And I saw my friend who is a queer hairstylist here in New York. Every time I'd see them, they're like, you really gotta let me cut your hair. It's just on its last legs. And they cut it to my shoulders, and I liked it. It was very like Kurt Cobain, Asian Kurt Cobain. Very like messy in my face. I started cutting it shorter, and I went from shoulder length to ear length that was very boy band, very, very Elvis. I had like a swoop in the front, very like rockabilly, and I liked it. I was still seeking a health clinic that would put me on testosterone, and I finally got an appointment around this time. I remember I just got a haircut, and I started going on testosterone. I went on a very low dose on a gel packet. I passed all their tests about saying if I qualify as a trans person or not. None of them asked me about my weight or my health or anything like that. I noticed that I didn't, like my gender presentation was still feminine. I was always getting misgendered, and it was kind of just more along the lines of like, it just didn't feel comfortable. Even if I looked very feminine or masculine, I just didn't like it. I still didn't look like all of these people on Instagram of being this archetype of a queer non-binary person. I took hormones for about like 2 to 3 months, I think. And every month I think I got a haircut. Because also in that like time I was taking hormones, I decided I found a tattoo artist that agreed to tattoo my head. It was the day that I went to go retouch or fill in shading into the snake tattoo that I have right now. And I went to a barber close to the tattoo shop. I finally did it, and the person who shaved my head was also a baldy, and he was taking really long because he admittedly said, like, I have never shaved anybody's head before. I don't know why he would say that during a time where he's shaving my head. And he's like, I just really want to take my time on this, and he kept busting out new like razors, and he like wanted to give me the full experience, but I was like, hey, I gotta get a tattoo right now, like I just gotta go. But it was like a nice ease into just like becoming bald, and I told him, it's almost like I had to walk him through shaving my head, so I didn't have time to freak out about it. And then I was completely bald, and I could really see my head, and I was like, wow, I have a good head. I don't mind. It's not that bad. I recommend anybody who, regardless of gender and identity, to shave their head once. It teaches you a lot about letting go. It teaches you a lot about seeing yourself without any extraneous, like try shaving your head and looking at yourself in the mirror naked. Oh, whoa, it's like seeing yourself completely all over again for the first time. I like just being bald now. I like not having my hair be, because whether I had like really long black hair and being hyper femme to blonde hair and having all these crazy colors, I was always like something to be looked at. And even though I still get looked at a lot because I have a lot of tattoos, it's still like at least somewhat expressing what it is that I feel inside, rather than presenting in a way that is for someone else. I think it's important for non-binary, gender non-conforming people, or people under the trans umbrella, to hear that you're fine. You don't have to, you like love yourself, affirm yourself in whatever way, do things that make you feel comfortable. Also, not everybody's story is exactly the same. It's like okay to be fluid. It's okay to like, to just be.